Now, speaking of your coach, I like his offensive sets, and I like the way Luol Deng is fitting in because to me it seemed like under Del Negro, Luol Deng was kind of like standing in the corners a lot, being the lost guy.
Hmm.
Tell me a little bit about the new Luol Deng's transition under this new system.
Well, if you look at Luol, I'm with Luol Deng. I seem to be on and off with him.
Yeah.
I love it, with the new offensive set for Luol Deng. He seems to be slashing to the basket more, and he's learned to take a step back. His shot used to be the mid range, jump and catch, and he would always settle for mid range shots. This year, he's asserted himself to the 3 point line, so he's catching and shooting from the 3 point line. If you look at his stats, his 3 point shot has improved a lot from over the years, if you look, and he's attacking the basket more. And last game he had 14 free throws, so he's attacking the basket, making the defense commit fouls on him. And with Vinny Del Negro's offense, he was more of a, as you said, catching and shooting around the mid-range shot. He was kind of the odd man out for Vinny Del Negro. But with Coach Thibodeau's system, he seems to be asserted more. And we'll see how he handles when Boozer comes back, being the third man behind Rose and Boozer. So I'm excited to see how that fits for him.
Yeah, and I think that's the perfect fit for him. I think he is a good third option. And if you got Luol Deng as your third option, you're doing pretty good as a as a team. So
Right.
let's talk a little bit about Joakim Noah. Now him and Kevin Love are battling for the rebounding title.
Mm-hmm.
I used to always say, in my opinion, that Joakim Noah was a power forward playing center. I've said this before, but I'm starting to think that he's a real true center. Give me your thoughts about Joakim Noah overall with his defense, hustle, rebounding, and just the way his team chemistry is with the Chicago Bulls.
Well, I actually agree with you on the fact that he is actually a power forward, and he's just had to play the role of the center. But at the same time, he's accepted his role, the new dynamics of the NBA now, on how power forwards are turning into centers when they go in the NBA,
Mm-hmm.
just because the NBA is like the long lost position.
Mm-hmm.
But he's put on a lot of weight. He's put on a lot of muscle. He's dedicated himself to the game, and it's pretty amazing on how he's translated his game from college to now. You could tell he's a winner, and he actually said in an interview that he's not trying to get the most rebounds, be the rebound leader in the NBA. All he's trying to do is hustle and put his team in position to win, and he's done a great job of that. He's lifted his offense, and he's lifted his rebounding, and he's somehow lifted his energy because the Bulls are turning into one of the best teams in the NBA, and Joakim Noah is doing a good job leading that. Last game against the Kings, I'm almost positive the Bulls would have lost that game if it weren't for Noah's energy and his heart and soul to the Bulls. So he means a lot to Chicago, and I'm a big fan of him. I actually got his jersey before he was actually he's actually played a game with the Chicago Bulls. So he means a lot to me, and he should mean a lot to Chicago Bulls fans all around.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy that has. You can't put a price tag on him. Actually,
No.
him and his agent put a price tag on him because he finally got his money, which he's happy about. And
Yeah.
I'm glad he got his contract because when you got a guy like Joakim Noah, he's absolutely priceless. The things that he does, him and Varejao are cut from the same cloth, but Joakim Noah obviously is a lot more talented. But I love his energy. I just like the way he gets everybody pumped up, and those are things that don't go on the stat sheet. So I really like that.
Yeah.
Now tell me about some of your bench players. Who you liking off the bench? Guys like James Johnson and stuff like that. Talk about those guys for a minute.
Well, on the Bulls bench right now, Ronnie Brewer is actually supposed to start, but we got Keith Bogan starting now. So Ronnie Brewer has actually been a big part of the Bulls off the bench currently, and Kyle Korver's giving us that big time shooting that we desperately needed over the past years. And the biggest surprise coming off the bench has been Omir Ashik, and a lot of people were iffy on him, whether if he would be as good as they said he was overseas. But he's coming out to be what we exactly want him to be, a defensive guy, a shot blocker. And we also have C.J. Watson off the bench, who when Rose was unable to play the other day against Denver, which we lost by 1 point from Carmelo game winner. C.J. Watson started instead of Rose because Rose was injured, and C.J. Watson ended up getting 33 points, which was a big help. James Johnson, when he comes in the game, he's come in very few times, but when he has come in, he's contributed a lot to this Bulls team, and it's been a very good bench so far. We have a very deep bench, and it's very exciting.
Yeah, it sure is, and definitely your bench is going to be a lot stronger when Carlos Boozer gets back because
Uh,
that's
yeah,
going to.
you add Taj Gibson to the bench, it's going to be
And
crazy.
I want to talk about him for a minute. And I know you're an avid Bulls fan, but you said you didn't watch it during the Jordan era,
Mm-hmm.
and he reminds me of a guy named Horace Grant.
Oh, yes.
He's definitely a throwback. And for those young guys that don't know, I'm sure you've heard of Horace Grant. But I'm going to tell you this right now. The Bulls would not have won a championship without Horace Grant. They may have won one or two, but Horace Grant was definitely one of the unsung heroes of that team. And I think Taj Gibson is the new millennium version of him. Why don't you go ahead and tell me a little bit about number 22, Taj Gibson?
Taj Gibson, he plays like he's a veteran. This is only his second year in the NBA. I believe he was drafted 26th pick with the Bulls, and he's been a veteran ever since he came in the league. He knocks down the mid-range shot. He goes in the post. He plays defense. And I always felt like a good comparison for Taj Gibson. You gave the Horace Grant one. I felt like he's like Udonis Haslem for the Miami Heat. He gives them that toughness, that mid-range shot. He could extend the floor for big men. And he's been a great player for the Bulls. He's been having big games. He saved us a few times in a few games. And he means a lot to Chicago. And when Carlos Boozer comes back and he's coming off the bench, it only makes the Bulls more stronger team. And Taj Gibson has given it his all so far this season, and he's only missed one game since he's been here. So he's an Iron Man for this Bulls team.
He sure is. He sure is. Now let's talk about your team. Now over the last 2 years, you guys made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Derrick Rose, his rookie year, did some incredible things that only a few players in NBA history have done. And they had a classic playoff series against the Boston Celtics that none of us will forget for a long time. And then last year, because you guys have been lower seed, you guys had some tough matchups. And then with the Cleveland Cavaliers, I thought you guys held your own. But of course, they were a number one seed.
Mm-hmm.
Now the expectations are a little bit higher for you guys this year. You guys are, top 4 teams in the East by a lot of people's standards. My question to you is, Bulls Talk 23, what is a successful season for you, for the Bulls, and what's a disappointment for the Bulls for you?
Well, of course, as you said, we want to be top 4 in the East. That's been our goal since we got Boozer and all these new players for the Bulls. And of course, we want to get out of the first round. We've only been out of the first round once in the past 6 years, and that was against Miami Heat, and that's when we had Ben Wallace. We've only been out of the first round once for the past 6 years, and we wanted to try to get to at least the conference finals. That seems to be the overall goal. Of course, if you get second round, you could say we've improved from last year. But with this new team and how it looks this year, I believe the Eastern Conference Finals, getting there is a big goal for the Bulls this year. Rose wants, this team is all about winning, and they could get there. But it's just about them coming together, showing that team chemistry when it's important. And a disappointment year would be, of course, losing in the first round. Second round we could live with. Trying to get to the Eastern Conference Finals would be the overall goal this year. And hopefully in the future make the finals and hopefully win a championship.
And you know what? That's an honest assessment of a team. Even though you are a homer for your team, a lot of people that I talk to that are Chicago Bulls fans say, they wouldn't expect to win a championship. And I'm not mad about that. It's just that you have to be realistic. And in the NBA and any team sports, you have to take steps. And with the acquisitions that you guys have gotten this summer, plus with the betterment of Derrick Rose, who's gotten better, Taj Gibson's development, you guys have skipped a step. You guys are not a first round team and out anymore. And second round to me, would kind of be a disappointment. Depends on who you play, though, in the second round. But,
Right.
yeah, Eastern Conference Finals is definitely fair for the Chicago Bulls. Bulls Talk 23, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's a big privilege.
No problem. You give some great answers. You're doing a great job. And everybody, do me a favor. I'll leave a link in the description box and also a link right here. You can see it. Go to Bulls Talk 23. If you are not a Bulls fan, it doesn't matter. This guy will entertain you. He's very, very funny. He knows a lot about NBA basketball, and he's a passionate fan of our league. And I really, really appreciate a fan like him. So thanks a lot, Bulls Talk 23, and I'll talk to you real soon, okay, buddy?
All right. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Take care of yourselves. I'll talk to you soon. And don't forget, if you can believe it, you can do it. Thanks for watching. You guys know I appreciate it. And remember, folks, always, always treat people how you want to be treated, and everything will be okay. This is NBA Jerry, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.